Hi, this is Jonathan. In today's video, we're going to discuss about the advantages of having a multi-effects pedalboard. Well, like some of you, or maybe most of you, I started playing electric guitar with pedals. I made a couple of videos about pedals and pedal boards and what you can do and what sort of pedals you can use and roughly what you can do with effects pedals. Now, the pedal board is an essential part of an electric guitarist's environment. It's something that you need to know. At one stage or another, you'll probably get a distortion pedal or overdrive or delay or any one of those. But this video is not about that. This video is because I have questions coming in about guys who wanted to get a multi-effect pedal board, and they're wondering whether to get one or not to get one. And there are a couple of multi-effects pedal board out there in the market. The Line 6 Helix is really one of them. Really something that I like. The Fractal, the AX9, you have the Roland, the GTs, and even the Yamaha and Zoom. I review a couple of those Ampero, from Hotone or Hotone. There are in fact a lot of pedal boards, multi-effects pedal boards out there in the market. Now, how do you approach a multi-effects pedal board? I approach it like how I would approach a familiar environment that I'm so used to back in the days when I was playing with pedals. But there is an inclusion, especially when you're using the modern day ones with amp simulation, amp speakers. I know that gets a bit overwhelming. Some of you guys will be thinking, oh, that's too much information. It's too much learning curve, too steep a learning curve. But you know what? It's all in the head. It's all in the mind. Once you get to know around the parameters, it's plain sailing, because you can actually see and hear the difference in tonal differences when you tweak around with the parameters. Now I'm talking due to my own experience with the Line 6 Helix. You know, I stand by the product because I believe, well, I mean, I'm a Line 6 fanboy. But in any case, the Helix blew my mind because I held on upgrading to the Helix for the longest time. You know, I was using the X3 for the longest time, you know, and it served me well. It gave me what I wanted on stage as well as in the studio. But I held on as much as I can until I decided to get a Helix, and then subsequently the Helix Native, which totally changed my whole way of recording my sessions or my productions. I used to use like Amplitude, you know, Guitar Rig and stuff like that. I stopped using that altogether because I'm using Line 6 Helix Native. That's it. You know, that's all I use. And the thing is that you have to get in a live situation, you got to get yourself in a frame of mind, and that's the important thing, the frame of mind, to know that this multi-effects board that you have under your feet, you know, it's capable of so much things, you know, so much more. But the hassle of bending down and playing with parameters, that's the thing that gets a lot of people, especially older folks like me. So the good thing is that a lot of companies came out with software so that you can actually like tweak around with your parameters with the comfort of a chair and a computer screen, so you don't have to like, you know, bend down all the time and tweak, except when you're on stage and when you're doing on the fly tweaking, just in case, you know, certain sounds you need, you know, the room doesn't sound right, and then you have no other choice but to bend down and on one knee or two knees and get your sound going. And I've been through that, you know. But you can have it tweaked with a laptop. Bring along a laptop in your live situation, put it on the music stand, and you can actually tweak your parameters without bending down, without kneeling down. And there's something that that I should do at my age, but I'm just so lazy to carry a laptop, you know, and extra weight and all that. So I'm already carrying enough stuff. I didn't want to lug along a laptop. You know, then again, maybe things will change. So, okay, I digress. So when you have a multi-effects board, you are able to tweak a whole lot of stuff. Your amplifiers, you know, this amp simulation. Now you got to put out yourself in a frame of mind to think that, okay, I'm going to use an amp, and I'm going to use effects with the amp, and I'm going to have sound effects, and most of the effects, the time-based effects going into the effects loop. That's the real world situation, right? But with a multi-effects board, you are able to do all that. You're able to like switch your order, you know, where your effects are going to be placed. You're placing, you can place a distortion before the amp or distortion after the amp. You can place a delay before the amp, stuff like that. You know, you can play around with it. But of course, you should know as electric guitarists that time-based units are always after the amps. But there are exceptions when you want a certain sound, when you are a avant-garde artist, for example, or you're trying to get some textures that is out of the world, and then go for it, you know. But I'm talking about the normal day-to-day guitarists who are playing with pedal boards and who are apprehensive about going into a multi-effects board. Now, you can always do all that, and placing your order and having noise gates and stuff that is available to you in the real world is available to you in the multi-effects board. And you have the volume pedal there, and that volume pedal can be changed to a wah-wah pedal. You can change parameters, you can change the rate of your delay, the rate of your chorus, whatever configuration. And if one pedal is not enough, get another pedal. Like in the case of the Helix, you know, I could always get another mission engineering pedal, and I could change certain things if I want to, but I'm not so complicated a player. I'm a straight ahead guitar player, so for most of the stuff that I do on stage, that volume pedal acts as a wah. That suffices for me. That's enough for me. The advantages of having a multi-effects pedal board are many. One, if you have pedals, like individual pedals, you're gonna have to deal with wear and tear. Cables being loose when it's tug. You have to be conscious of the many power supplies that you're gonna get, you know, even though I spot and you have a whole lot of power supply available, and all are made easy, but then there is this risk of it failing. Now, of course, you may argue that if this failed, the multi-effects board might also fail. It's true. I've toured with my multi-effects board for the longest time, and it hasn't failed me yet. My pedals, some of them do, but most of them don't, especially the ones that are really hardy, those that are really well made, you know. So far I have no problems about pedal boards, you know, those little pedals conking out at me. It's very far in between. Sometimes when you have electric shock, the adapter blew, that's the thing. The adapter blew, and then you got no power for the rest of your pedal board. Now you might argue again that, you know, that the multi-effects board might face the same problem, but most multi-effects board have good strong power supplies. And in my case, I stay in Singapore. I have this UK 3-pin, and there is always a 3-pin plug around, and I can always convert it to a 3-pin. But with a adapter, a power adapter for your power for your little pedals, like the iSpot comes in with 2-pin. You can always convert it to 3-pin if you want to, but then, you know, most of them comes with the adapter with the power transformer with the pin in, so it's kind of hard. Of course, nowadays you have those individual power supply that you can put into your rack, you know, your what you call that little thing, you know, that you put all your pedals on. You know, you can incorporate that in, and so there's minus and plus. But then again, wear and tear, because each individual pedal, you're gonna step on each individual pedal, and it might give up. And of course, like I said, the patch cables and stuff like that, and the fact that the knobs are all physical knobs, so you know, you could have rub it the wrong way, you know, turn the knob by accident, and then, you know, sound would change, and you go like, wait, why is my, you know, and there's a whole lot of stuff. With the multi-effects, you don't have that problem, because everything is like kept into the memory of the multi-effects. Now, the disadvantages of having a multi-effects is that, well, you would have to know a little bit of how it works, you know. So the learning curve is there, but it's not that steep as what you thought. It took me a while to get used to my first pod, and subsequently the first pod live, you know, and it's a breeze after that, you know. I thought I was actually quite apprehensive about getting the Helix, because I thought the learning curve would be quite steep, but once I dwell into it, it's actually real simple. And it looks steep because there's a whole lot of parameters that you can change, you know, especially in the amp section. You know, you can change the biasing and stuff like that, you know, stuff that amps have, like in the tubes and the lag and the drag, or whatever you call it, you know. So there's a whole lot of parameters that you can play around inside the Helix. And I'm sure the same thing goes for the Factual, the same thing goes for the EX9. So that's basically in a nutshell, you know. So if you are looking and thinking about getting into multi-effects pedal, don't be afraid, you know. Just get onto it. Hold on. Look at it this way. Look at it as an investment. And, you know, a multi-effects has all this stuff that you can play with, and you can shop around for brands, which company offers you the most variation, and you can search in YouTube which multi-effects sounds the best for you. Now, at a word of advice, the multi-effects, you know, the time-based units are the most important. You can have the best distortion, the best compressors, the best amp simulation, but if your time-based unit fails, then it fails as a multi-effects unit, because then you have to put in your Strymons and other delays that you like. For me, the Helix, well, I'm not plugging the Helix because they don't pay me to do that. But as far as I'm concerned, the Helix has one of the best time-based units around, and that's what makes it so popular and so usable, you know, for live situations as well as recording situations, right? So if you have questions, just post it on the comment section down below, and I'm sure there are guys here who are into multi-effects and who might be able to help you if I don't answer in time. My advice is to go around in YouTube, you know, and search for a bunch of multi-effects that you might be interested in. Yeah, it costs a bit. It's not a whole lot, you know. Some of the multi-effects don't even cost like an amp. You know, it's even lesser than a guitar sometimes. You know, for like the Ampero, you can probably get about 300 US. You know, the Helix now is going, I don't know, search around, you know, search Sweetwater, you know, sometimes they have good offers. And if you don't want to buy the Helix, buy the Helix LT, you know, it's a cheaper version. There are other stuff. Lysis just came out with this new thing called Pod Go, which is a smaller version of the Helix. It's a stripped down version, but you have the foot switches, you know, and you have the volume, wah pedal, easy, you know. And if you don't have enough budget, if you're budget constrained, then you can always get that instead of the full-blown Helix. My advice, if you are able financially to afford a multi-effects, get the full-blown Helix, because there's so many things you can do, and the strips, you know, the visual strips are so important. And you have other capabilities like, you know, microphone ins, and that Helix unit can act as an interface if you choose to. If you have the space, not like in this place, I don't have the space. But if you have the space, that can function as an interface too. And if you are looking for other stuff, go ahead, you know, search for the Fractal, the AX9, the GT, the GT1, you know, the Amperos, the Hotone. There's another one, I forgot what is it called. Now, don't compare the Helix or stuff like that with, say, a NYC fly rig. Fly rig is stripped down completely. It's so stripped down that it's just a couple of effects and that's it, you know, and you can just take it along. If convenience is an important thing, like, you know, portability is a priority, then go for the fly rig, you know. But if you have the capability to, or if you want to set up a good environment for you to perform, the multi-effects pedal board like the Helix will serve its purpose, right? So I hope this video will help you. And if you have questions, like I said, you know, post it in the comment section down below, right? And hope you like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up and join this channel. Today is day 1 of this so-called circuit breaker or semi-lockdown in Singapore. So there are many more to go. It's gonna be a month. So I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Ciao.